Well, hi everybody, Bill here. Hey, today I'm going to change the oil on my tractor. And I made a great big mess. I've left all my mistakes in the video so you can learn what not to do if you decide to change your transmission oil. Join me right now on Today in Iowa. My tractor is a 2019. It's 4 years old. In fact, this month, July, has 214 hours on it, and I think it's time to change the transmission oil and filters. Keep in mind, I did do a filter change around 78 hours as a preventative action. You know, all the videos I've seen, it seems like everybody drains their hydraulic fluid from that point right there. In today's video, we're going to change it from underneath. I have my backhoe on. I don't want to remove it, and I just think it's more of a convenience for me. Here's the way I keep my manual. In the winter, I get bored, so I read it and put tabs on it so I can make quick reference to transmission service here. So let's go in and take a look at that before we get started. And the takeaway from this page is avoid injury, don't get hot, don't get burned. That hydraulic oil can be hot. The next important thing is, look, the transmission oil can be changed every 1,200 hours to 3 years following these requirements. I'm meeting these requirements. In fact, I changed the suction and transmission filters at 78 hours as a preventative step. And although I'm 4 years, I'm only 200 hours. So I'm very comfortable running 4 years and 200 hours. And I'll probably do it again. I'll probably change those two filters at 300 hours would be a good target. Now notice the drain plug location on the tractor here. On the second page, you know, it points out the hydraulic suction filter and the HST filter. Here's the numbers if you want to write them down in case you need reference for that. Here's the oil I'm going to use. This is the first oil change, so I want to stay with their product. Also, here I wanted to take a minute and point out that to install the replacement filters, contact the filter and then turn it one additional half turn. Here's some other important information. I bought 6-gallon containers, so that gave me 24 quarts. Note it takes 24.8 quarts, so be sure and pick up another quart when you do that. And likewise, don't forget to get a large enough container that's going to hold the 24.8 quarts you're going to drain out of your tractor. So I'm all set for that here. All right, it's time to climb underneath the tractor. We've reviewed the manual. I think we're all ready to go, don't you? Here's the drain plug. It's right on top of the drawbar. So just go around back. See, it just pulls in and out. So you're going to see me pull it back. There we go. Now I got clear access to the drain plug. All right, let's review. We've got everything ready. Got our drain pan. It's been run to warm. Tires are chalked. Access to the drain plug. Nothing can go wrong, can it? Here we go. All right, I'm trying to slide the oil pan under there. And with the backhoe on, but there's still permanent mounted hardware there with the backhoe. It won't fit. I went to high school. I'm a smart guy. What's going on here? All right, let's get the tape measure out and see what I didn't take into consideration. Yeah, there you go. The oil pan is about 7 3/4, and the access underneath is a lot less than that as well, I'll say. All right, so let's go to plan B. The backhoe's off. I guess I'm going to drain it like everyone else. All right, so at first I thought, oh, are you kidding me? But it did slide underneath there and everything looks good there. As precaution, I took some air and blew off any loose materials around there before I took off the drain plug. And we're going to be all ready to go. Take a look at the white ring around that drain plug. We're going to look at that a little bit further, but this is the first drain since I bought the tractor new. And we'll get in. It looks like a Teflon tape or something, doesn't it? Now don't forget and vent your tank. Look, it's running right down there like a bathtub drain. It's working real nice. Just be sure and have your vent open. Now in a minute, you're going to see my next mistake that I've done. Just pointing out the vent there. Everything looks pretty good. Remember, I changed my filter at 78, so I'm not worried about filtering this out for any kind of metal flakes or anything that's left in for the manufacturing process. I think I'm in good shape that way. All right, let's stop the video a minute. How's everything look here to you? There's going to be something go wrong here. Again, I'm going to let you take a look at this. I'll give you a clue. It has to do with the drawbar channel. I hear something running on the ground. What in the heck? How's this oil getting on the ground? Where's that coming out of? I thought something was open on the plastic container. Well, there's an arrow showing the oil that's going down the drawbar channel, going past the collection container and getting on the ground. Should have had that container in there deeper, or had another pan perhaps on the other side. So if you do this, just be sure you have a large enough collection pan to grab all the oil. Hey, let's get a few shout-outs in here. I'd like to say hi to Stanley out in Shiprock, New Mexico. He's up in the northwest corner. Dave in Yuma, Arizona. I always think of that 2007 Western, a 310 Yuma. How about Pedro in Hope, New Jersey? Thanks for checking in. Tim from Maryville, Missouri. And Jay Miller from Far Hills, New Jersey. He's an hour and a half west of New York City. Thanks for taking time to check in, fellas. I sure appreciate it. Look at how that oil's sitting on that drawbar and running forward. I thought the tractor was level, so I put a torpedo level here in the running board, and you can see I'm off by quite a bit. So I wonder if I would have been more truly level if the oil would have ran backwards into the pan. And this could all have been avoided if I had the proper height on a drain pan, even if I had a couple of them, and you just had to switch it out. I wouldn't have spilled this much oil. Let's take a look at that drain plug I talked to you about earlier. Look at that material around there. I called a friend of mine, and he didn't remember seeing that on his drain plug. Now remember, this is the first time since the factory that this has been removed. All right, so it's kind of a gummy. The only way I can explain it is like Teflon tape. So here I finally got it off the threads and everything cleaned up. And I went ahead and put it on the last 3 threads. Put it back in place. If you think I've done something wrong, let me know, but I didn't see any harm in doing just that little bit. Okay, time to drain the filters. There you can see the 78 hours back in 20 when I had those filters just spun off and spun back on. Like I said, I'll probably do that again 100 hours from now. I think that's pretty cheap insurance, don't you? So you just get the wrench on there and get your pan underneath there, and you just spin it off. It looks a little more difficult to get in there with your hands, but I was trying to not obstruct the camera so you can see it. That probably made it a little tougher. So if you don't have a camera, you're in good shape. Now, did you hear that? That was not the hydraulic fluid. My wife turned on the hose, looked to the left. At the same time, that fluid come out. At first, when I edited this video, I said, what in the hell is that? But she turned that water on at a perfect time. That was not the hydraulic fluid. Boy, for a second there, I thought something really went wrong. Anyways, we got to get that HST filter off now. Again, I think it's a little more difficult. It looks like it's a little more difficult because I'm trying to keep the camera, the angle there so it can see the work. Otherwise, I could scoot over there and it might be a little bit easier. So this isn't so hard. Yeah, I actually had thought about taking off the tire for clarity, but it's filled with beet juice, and I thought, I don't want to wrestle that tire. That'd be pretty heavy. So it spun right off, and everything was as expected. Clean everything back up, spin new filters on. I put a piece of tape on my filter when I got it hand tight. Then when I get that extra half turn, I have a reference to it, and I know I've done it correctly. I use a flexible funnel to get my oil back in. It works real good. And then I turn the gallon container. I put the opening on the high side so it flows easier. Instead, the other way, it seems to glug. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a minute. But be sure and get your oil back in there. This is a reminder. Remember, I got 6 gallons, so I got 24 quarts. So I have to remind myself to get 1 extra quart. There's an example of pouring it with the spout at the bottom. Did you see how it glugged? It's nice to put it on top that way, and it flows out a lot easier. And be sure and empty your gallon containers all the way. I'll show you why in a minute. Fill cap back on. Check the level. Boy, stuff's hard to see. I use a little tissue, and I slide it down, and when it gets wet, it shows me where it is. So it's right in the hatch mark area there. I haven't put my 0.8 quart in yet. I've just put in the 24 quarts. So I'll start it up, fill the filters, and then I'll recheck it, and I'll probably add my 0.8 at that point. All right, I'll also check for leaks around the filters. I'll look at the drain plug and make sure that the fill cap is back on. Then I'll shut it down, recheck it, and as expected, it was a little low. Topped it off with the 0.8 quart, and we were right where we want to be. So let's pull it out. I want to wash off some of that oil. If that was red, it looked like a crime scene, wouldn't it? So I have to look up how much they charge to do that, but I think I saved a little money today doing it myself. And the next time, 3 years from now, it'll be a lot easier. Here's a look at the oil. Obviously, the oil on the right has the 200 hours on it, and the left is new. I couldn't tell any difference in smell or consistency or anything like that. So I'm comfortable running to 4 years and a couple hundred hours. Not worried at all. Well, everybody, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for taking time to join me today. Thank you for your support. Be kind to each other. I'll talk to you real soon. So long, everybody.